Hi there, and welcome to FMCG by Alex. Today, I would like to talk to you about packaging design. For those of you who follow my videos, you know I always start with the why. Why is packaging design important? So, it's part of the P of product in the 4P marketing mix, which means that product is both the quality of the product but also the packaging, the way it's presented, basically. It really leads to product differentiation, so you can tell apart the brands and, in essence, also the taste, quality, all the benefits that they convey to you by the packaging. Branding and storytelling are also part of this. So packaging gives you, as a manufacturer, also the opportunity to, yeah, distinguish between other brands and tell the story of your product. So it's actually more like a canvas you can use to paint the picture of your brand and also tell the story. You literally write the story of your brand, which means like on the front you have maybe a image that really conveys a lot of trust, a lot of recognition in your customers, and in the back on the back you have some space to tell the story of your brand. Like in 1960, grandma baked this apple cake, apple pie, and since then we've packaged it and we've sold it, and millions of Americans have enjoyed this, Granny Smith's apple pie. That idea, and that's the way I guess a lot of brands are distinguishing. So you see also the example here, cola, and you see a sort of grape, grape type of soda, or orange soda, basically. I have to wear my glasses. It's orange soda. The idea is actually that cola, in essence, like all the cola brands, they have this red color to distinguish themselves. Like they are red and blue and white. Of course, it's American product. And then you have orange. Yeah, you already associate orange with oranges, and yeah, this yellow orange color is used to convey the feeling you have about the brand. So it's recognizable from a mile away on the shelf. I see a shelf. I don't need to go over every single label. I can see more or less what it is. Then value versus premium. So basically, there is premium packaging, there is value packaging. Value would be budget or low end packaging. Cheaper products would be classified as value. So normally, if you look at value products, they are more for less. So in essence, they have very economic packages, or you can also call it economic size packages. If you look at premium, it's more of an on-the-go premium size. You have more elaborate packaging where maybe per piece they are actually packaging cookies, while you have maybe a big bag of cookies because both the material cost is lower, and yeah, they're trying to capture a low end of the market, which is more price sensitive customers. So the material is also a big part of it. So material premium products need to have, more elaborate packaging, more premium material, more fancy colors, more fancy imagery. Use of colors also is used to convey the right mood. So if you have, let's say, a value brand and you have a very peaceful, color scheme, while you want to actually convey excitement, yeah, that's the wrong way of doing it. If you convey excitement, you make something red and splashy and like vibrant colors. So color, this is actually very basic, but colors have a different effect on human beings. So red actually makes your heart go faster. If you look at green and blue, they are calming and cooler colors, basically. So that's why also in operating rooms, if people actually need to look at stimuli, red is actually something that maybe heart surgery, to at least have your heart go faster, or green if you need to convey, okay, this is too exciting for people in the hospital. That's why surgeons and people in the operating room also wear green. So this is, depending a little bit on the effect you would like to come. It's very minute. It's not like someone dies or lives thanks to the fact, but these small things can really make a big difference on the mood you convey inside something. Then storytelling. So storytelling is actually more elaborate in premium brands. If you look at value brands, okay, this is a fancy label on the packaging. Everybody knows it's cheap. You don't really know where it's from. It's probably from a big factory somewhere, unknown factory that you would like you don't want to think about basically where it comes from. So that's actually not that it's bad where it comes from, but you don't want to think about it. It's just it's delicious. I eat it. It's cheap, therefore I buy it. Premium products are more about, okay, if you have, let's say, a party for your friends, would you like to present something that is, from the cheap store, a store brand from the cheaper store? Maybe it's just as delicious, but maybe you actually want to impress your friends, or you want to impress your boss, or you want to impress your colleagues. Now, this is actually the reason why these brands exist. So you want to actually put something on the table which has a little bit more, body, more allure in that sense. So that's why, sometimes storytelling can play a very big part in this. If you look at premium products, it's a very good example. I ever supplied a supermarket that had blueberries from a farm in the area. So they presented the blueberries without anything. Nobody bought, and then the store owner actually put a sign and explained where these blueberries were from. And he said, like, in blink of an eye, everything was sold out. So this is the difference of storytelling on sales as well. So this is actually where I think everybody's watching this to find out, like, okay, how can I sell more thanks to this? So, what is bad packaging, and can I tell what it is when it slaps me in the face? Now, yeah, bad packaging, in essence, it's very subjective. Some people like this, some people like that. But generally speaking, this is rule of thumb. You have confusing design and imagery. So, if your design doesn't really match what's inside the box, it can be as extreme as something that looks like detergent but actually is candy, or we have a couple of things that in the past really bombed because uh, this sort of thing. So the packaging was really just designed and maybe not tested properly, that people were associating it with something that was not the actual product or the product tasted. As soon as you have to think about what is in this, what is this, do I associate, in your brain you are looking for patterns. So that's why best to change not everything about packaging, but take maybe 30% innovation and 70% trying to go by what is usual. So people are using a reference in their brain, actually in their mind, to recognize a product on the shelf. So like I said, if you just with the example of cola, if all the cola brands on the shelf are red, white and blue, and you suddenly come up with a green bottle of which is cola, green maybe actually conveys the subliminal message of it's a different flavor. So people would really need to know your brand. If your brand actually is new, it stands out between all these red cans. But on the other hand, is that the right choice to make? Because cola bottles normally are not with the green color. There is actually a brand called Green Cola, very delicious, very good brand also with regards to the way they market it. But they have to really work on this from zero. I'm not saying this is bad packaging, by the way, but this is just a choice that could go either way, good or bad. Confusing design also has a lot of fonts, so you're talking about different font sizes, like letter types, basically, for your packaging. If you use like more than two, I guess you have a very difficult to read and hard on the eyes, basically, sort of design. And imagery also, if it's too busy, or too calm, too much white, also that can also be one of the things that is inhibiting how people are finding or identifying your product. Then poor quality printing. I've seen the most delicious products actually, being done with home printing. If you are like a small, medium enterprise company and you make it at home, then I would suggest you invest in, professional printing services rather than doing it on your home printer. That also really conveys okay, this is made at home, and my 4-year-old drew the label, and I've printed it on a home printer, dot matrix printer or something like that. That is actually something that screams this is not a professional company, and what's inside the bottle or what's inside the package might not be professional either, even though that might be completely opposite. So this is one of the things you need to keep in mind. The packaging needs to actually convey what is inside it, yeah. And sometimes maybe the packaging is better than what's inside of it. As soon as what's inside of it is better than the packaging, yeah, that's a waste. Then wrong color combinations. Wrong color combinations can also really be very, very detrimental. If you actually are looking for something calm or something, yeah, more exciting, like I said, it's one of the things to look out for. It should convey the right message, basically, the right mood for your product. Then your design can be too crowded or too simple. Like I said, too much white, or you want to stuff the entire label or the entire pack full of messages that confuse customers. Like, what is this? Like, I don't even want to read, and too many prices and too many sweepstakes and too many things to contact and check out. Now, that's one of the things that you need to feel. I think a little bit what is relative to what you need. And too simple, yeah, it also can also be because if you have a very premium brand and you have a very simple label, that can work. I mean, yeah, but then you probably need to have a brand that is worth was it yeah, 100 years old, basically. So then these older brands, they can get away with more simple packaging because the packaging 100 years ago might have been very simple and very recognizable. So 100 years, my great grandfather, my grandfather, etc., they all use this, and therefore we recognize. They, of course, need to evolve a little bit, but I'll go into that in a moment. Um, Always be relative to what's next to you on the shelf. So if you are in doubt, you say, okay, Alex, I'm still not really sure about what is bad packaging and how to avoid it. Is my packaging bad? Now, look at other examples. It's best to map what is else is out there at the particular moment. And, you need to really look at how does your product look next to all the other packages. So I've ever worked with an Italian coffee company which had completely white pouches to sell their coffee. And delicious coffee is probably one of the best coffee brands I've ever, had the chance to taste in my life, and also the chance to sell. But the problem was that it looked a bit like, yeah, like a store brand or a white label type of thing. That because they had a very subtle label with black and white. Now, that's one of the things that didn't have the right message if you wanted to compete with. Okay, this is adding something to your already crowded coffee space. Normally in the Netherlands, it was importing it to the Netherlands. So if you look at the Netherlands, the issue is that supermarkets will add something to their assortment. You say, okay, I have coffee. Am I selling more coffee if I add your brand to it? If not, if it's only cannibalizing all of the other brands on the shelf, I'm not going to add it. Now, in this case, the coffee was delicious, but it will not stand out in the shelf. It was actually something that was looking a little bit cheap in terms of, yeah, not premium. The Italians actually had another opinion, which is maybe in Italy. Like I said, I don't know the entire market in Italy, obviously, at that time, but they said, for us, it stands out because all the other coffee brands have more elaborate designs. So ours is white, people know it. That could be true in Italy. In the Netherlands, there was another story. And then last but not least, the weird shape. And yeah, because of weird shape, it's hard to display. Sometimes you have like people who are having very brilliant ideas of, okay, I want to have packaging that is different from everybody else, which in itself is not a bad thing. But if it is very difficult to display, difficult to stack. For example, we had in Indonesia for UVID, we had pouches. I'm not saying UVID has bad packaging. Obviously, it's just the way the product is displayed. It needed a display in order to stand up because the standing pouches could stand, but we also had small pouches which could not, and you cannot put them up straight without any support in the back. So the way to display the product is difficult. I'm not saying that is a weird shape because there are other brands, of course, doing the same thing, but I mean, a standing pouch for larger pack sizes was, of course, easier to display than the smaller ones. Then you really need a cardboard display, which was not always available, or they actually turned the box, it's very smart, the box into the display itself, and you could put it on the shelf inside the box and then use it as a sort of out of the box display. So in that sense, look at that also in your packaging design. And one of the things that is very important to note, yes, new packaging forms. So we had Tetra Pak had, for example, a solution for various products that you could put sauces or even wine inside a Tetra Pak. So wine is basically sold in a pack that would look a bit like fruit juice. So like a Tetra Pak of fruit juice. Now in America, there was a bit more resistance that they were not. Yeah, Tetra Pak comes from Europe, but so there was a less less known, was less well known basically type of packaging form. So and then also wine in that sort of pack was something that was a bit more difficult to position as a premium wine. So it had to be cheap already because it was in a Tetra Pak, even though there's nothing wrong with the pack. And although I'm probably offending a lot of wine connoisseurs at this moment, that the wine was fine. Same goes for wine in a can. I was actually the sub distributor for wine in a can. A friend of mine was importing that in the Netherlands, and it came from France, so it's very good wine actually. So objectively, a lot of people who knew wine, I don't know wine, knew wine, actually told me that it was pretty decent wine. And the only thing was that it was in a single serve can, so you could actually get a glass of wine out. Because normally the problem with wine was that if you open a bottle and you don't use the entire bottle, that you put it back in the fridge, it doesn't taste the same. It's actually not really, not good for the taste to leave it out if you can't finish the bottle in one night. So that is the reason why these smaller, maybe for parties where there's maybe one person who actually drinks wine, you have to open a complete bottle for that. Yeah, then that is a bit of a waste. So this was like a economic version. Everything added up. It's just that there was a lot of resistance from off licenses to sell it. The supermarkets also, they sold it, but people were not used to buying it in this format. No, should be in a bottle, should not be in a Tetra Pak, should not be in a can. So that is the reason why sometimes what seemed like a good idea, uh, fails miserably like that. So, what is good packaging? If I knew, I would probably have a very successful packaging business. No, I'm just joking here. In essence, the rule of thumb here is like, again, it's very subjective, but the rule of thumb is organized design and imagery. So, what we in Dutch we call strak, which is literally translated into English is tight. So you have a tight design. Everybody's a little bit autist, meaning like anything that is not synchronous with each other or in line with each other is being rejected by our brain basically. And an organized design and imagery, so meaning using one font type as much as possible as well, that is belongs to like something that is easy to process and uh, should be organized, should be logical, should be something that people are looking at. If you look at packaging, also, when you have something in front of you, the top right corner, that is actually scientifically proven, is the first spot people look at. So in the end, that is a very important piece of real estate you need to make best use of when you say top right corner. Then it should be recognizable, as in fill in the category. So whatever category it is, you need to have packaging that is recognized as such. So there's two types of chips that were popular when I was a kid. You had others, but nowadays you have different flavors. But in the past, you had plain salted chips. Basically, you had in a red bag, and paprika flavored chips we had in a blue bag. So this is being introduced by the original manufacturers in and all of the chips manufacturers actually were staying close to that. So Again, you can stray from that. That's not an issue. I think people have already by now. But I mean, the point was in our mind was okay. Oh, blue, that must be paprika. Oh, red, that must be natural salted chips, basically. So that's one of the things that you need to keep in mind. Then colors to match a premium or value position. So let's say if you say what is premium, red, gold. Red can also be in a use with white can be, for example, very value positioning. But black and gold. Gold is definitely a premium color. Silver, more elaborate designs with various color schemes, that can look very, very purple is also the imperial color, basically. So these are things that you need to keep in mind that can make a big impact on your packaging design to make it a premium or a value positioning and what people expect. Again, from a design perspective, probably every color can be used for everything, but the combination usually does it. And then, really, what it all comes down to is that packaging should convey why should you pay X for it. So, meaning, is the story behind the on the backside of the packaging, is that the reason that you feel that this is a good product? Does the design make you feel like, oh, I can take this home and serve this to my mother-in-law when she comes to visit, or my friends, or can I impress my boss with this? Is this really a treat, for people? So this is marketing in essence is why should you pay this for this product. And I'll leave you with some final thoughts as well. When you design packaging, do not rush the design and test it thoroughly on focus groups. So there's a lot of examples of packaging that has been rushed out the door. That's maybe an afterthought to test it, but like I said, it can really make a big difference in sales, offtake, especially relative to what the competition is doing. So you don't know, of course, what they will launch after you launch your packaging, but I mean that's one of the things to keep in mind. Then A/B testing, meaning okay, you have two products, A and B. Which one is going to work? There are a lot of companies that actually do it on the fly. So you have like contests, like which one is flavor-wise also. But I mean, with packaging also, there's a lot of A/B testing going on. It's not an exaggerated luxury, like I mentioned. It's really something that spend a lot of time on it. Don't be skimpy on the or don't save on it, basically. Also, like the budget for design should be there, and good enough, that's for budget products, maybe, or value products. Then if you really want to convey a premium message, you need to really take a couple of days and digest the designs, and details are really very important. Then for legacy brands, because I've worked for a company that had the same design since like 1972, which worked for them. I have to also say that the packaging had really changed a little into 2010 onwards, like back from 1972, of course. So the imagery was almost the same. So when you innovate, don't stray too far from the core. So for them it worked, and people were really recognizing it because of it, and that's why you should stay also very close to it, not like radically, change over the packaging. If you look at this was Ultra Milk as an example, Ultra Milk in Indonesia, now Frisian Flag, which is an international player, they were playing around with some different designs, which made people less likely to recognize. Of course, you have this flag. The flag logo was always there, so that part you see conveys the quality, Frisian Flag, high quality milk, etc. But they had for example, Disney characters on their kid size product, and then they changed it to other designs. So they had like new designs, I think, quite often, especially for kids. Would not be the end of the world, but I mean, for the adult packs, basically, you would need a little bit more of consistency, basically. They didn't really have a legacy design. So that's can be freedom, can be also limitation, of course. Then adapt pack sizes to specific consumers. So we're not really talking about the design, but more about the size of the packaging. So if you look at value, normally, like I said, it's more bulky, like a big bag of something. Specific consumer needs, if your consumer actually needs to bring something on the go, okay, I'm on the train or in my car and I need something easy to, consume the product or use the product, or certain quantities are easier to use. If you're talking about non-food products, basically, yeah, then that is one of the things you need to adapt the pack size to. And I would like to stress again, storytelling becomes more important. Storytelling is really the norm rather than the exception these days, where you need to really tell what is your brand about, who is making this. It's not only the what, but also the why. So the why is very important, and also for big brands. Like if you look at legacy brands, they of course have built this image already, in our minds since, and they also have the budgets to do it in ATL campaigns on TV and radio and other media, basically, and internet. If we look at smaller brands, yeah, they still need to start from scratch. So you can't build a brand overnight. You need to really take your time to build it. It's a slow burner. There are no instant results. You can't buy the market with a brand. If you are playing your cards right, of course, you can shortcut a little bit, but there are no miracle silver bullet solutions in that sense. But storytelling is really the core. Authenticity, is your brand really, made by the people that you're putting forward, or is it a nameless brand that comes from a big factory that all the other products come out of? In that case, yeah, you might need to a little bit more of imagination in order to uh, get the brand positioning right, and also the storytelling. So this is one of the things I wanted to share with you. Like in the end, I think there is a lot more to it, but feel free to reach out to me as usual to ask any specific questions you might have. Thanks for watching. It was a pleasure to present this to you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video. If not, then don't. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.